Hey guys, it's Julie. In this video, I'll be talking about my expectations and my experiences studying abroad in Korea. So if you'd like to know more, keep watching. One of the things that I expected the most when I was going to Korea for the first time was probably like the weather, and I did not expect it to be as hot as it was because in Colorado it's like a different type of hot. Here it's more like dry. In Korea it is very, very wet and it's not fun, especially for me because I hate the summer because I sweat. At that time was like the worst because I was sweating every single time I went outside and it felt really gross, and it made me think about how badly I packed because I did not have enough t-shirts. I think it was the Korean dramas that kind of made me think that the weather was just gonna be super nice, but you know, it's different for them because they're used to the weather. Like my worst enemy was probably like my hair. I brush my hair every few minutes because the moisture was making it super poofy. Another thing I expected was not being able to find my size, either clothes or shoes, because Korea, their size standard is a lot smaller than the US. I'm considered plus size in Korea, which is crazy because I'm not big enough to be considered plus size in the US. But in Korea I was. Instead of being a large, I was an extra large. It was really difficult to find like clothes that would fit me, but I would have to kind of accommodate and like find materials that were stretchy or even shop in the men's section, which I didn't mind because I always buy guy clothes anyways. But yeah, a lot of my clothes were either guys clothes or knit sweaters because they were the only things that would fit me. But I did find some really cute plus size stores. They had really cute things, but I am too broke to buy them because like a lot of them had like really steep prices and it was not it. So that was like another hard thing. So I kind of already knew that Korea has a lot of cheap items. I just didn't know how cheap they would be. I went on a trip organized by my program, but we went to a food market, a street food market. They gave us each, I think, around 10,000 won, and I didn't think it was gonna be enough, but it was actually enough for like a lot of things. And I got to eat, always forgetting the name, kimmari, for the first time, and it was so good. Oh my gosh. I went back for seconds because they were so good. I tried a few other things, but I cannot remember. I do have a TikTok that you can watch of me eating and like going through like the street market, and it was really fun. There was a lot of things to see, and a lot of them were really cheap. So some of my favorite K-dramas are the school dramas, like the university ones. It's probably because I'm a college student, so I can relate to the characters. I would see how much they struggled to like apply for classes, and I did not really expect that to be like a real thing. I thought it was like an exaggeration, but it was not. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, and it was like trying to get the classes that I wanted, and I only ended up getting 2 of the classes that I wanted out of like 5 that I applied for, and I was like so shocked because when I clicked the button, it said that the class was already full. The timer barely went off. The crazy thing is that there's like a specific like timer website, and you can look up the school and it'll tell you like the time that your school is going to open, and I was looking at it, nothing. I didn't get any of them. I was so sad, and that wasn't even the actual thing. That was like, it confused me because there was like 2 like rounds, I guess. Like if you didn't get the classes you wanted during that round, then you'd have to wait for the next one, which was the official one. So that whole thing confused me, kind of upset a lot of people because I was grateful for at least getting 2 of the classes that I wanted. The classes, they weren't difficult. I kind of expected them to be like difficult. Korea's really top tier, and Korea University is one of like the top schools. The classes were fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed those classes, but they were taught very differently than I was taught in the US. So maybe it is just me kind of like my naive mindset, my first time living in a dorm since I've always lived at home. But I kind of expected dorm life to be a lot differently. Like I expected there to be room parties. I think I expected it to be a lot nicer than it was. Not the inside of the room. I love the inside. It was like really spacious, but I kind of expected my dorm life to be not exactly like Hello My 20s, but like really hoping to be like that. The room was great, and like my roommate was the best. I love her. But I don't know, I didn't really get to connect with anybody else on my floor. The funny thing was, all my friends were on the floor below me, but we weren't even allowed to hang out in the hallways. We either had to be in our rooms or outside of the dorms. They were really strict about certain things. I just wish it was like Hello My 20s. There were so many cool moments, but my roommate probably made it the best. She was the best part of my trip. Shout out to Mimi. Since I was traveling to Korea and going to school, I kind of expected to make some native friends, but I did end up talking to a few like native Koreans. You know, I had conversations with them, but never really set up any friendships with them. My Korean is not the best, and like I really tried to work on my pronunciation, and like my language classes were like, helping me with that, but when I'm around other people and I have to actually use the language, it makes me really nervous. It takes me forever to think of the right thing to say, but I didn't get to make any native friends, and that made me kind of sad, but I was alright with like the friends that I made. They were all American, and funny enough, they were all from Illinois, which was really interesting. I'm glad that I got to meet them because they made studying abroad a lot more easy and like adaptable. I was surprised at how many cafes there were. Every single street had around like 10 or more cafes, and each one had their own like theme, their own drinks and stuff, and it was super fun. If you go to my TikTok, you'll be able to see all like the cafes that I went to because some of them were really cool. I went to a Harry Potter themed cafe in Seoul. I don't remember what the name was, and it was really cool. The ambiance was great. It had like a staircase with a bed underneath, like to reference like Harry Potter. That one was probably my favorite because it was like so cool and magical. They had like really cool drinks too. They had like a blue lemonade soda type of thing, and it was super pretty. And I drank a coffee there and my hands would not stop shaking. Occasionally on a subway I would notice people staring at me and my friends. My friends I could understand because they were really tall, so they were like towering over everybody else. And me, it was probably because of my hair, because like it was really frizzy. But it was also because we were foreigners. But specifically when I went to Busan, there was a lot of staring, and it was probably because there was less foreigners there than there is in Seoul. Whenever I would speak to someone in Korean, they would get really excited and they would compliment me on my pronunciation and like how I'm self-taught. I got to have like a few conversations with like my hairstylists that were Korean, and they were really surprised that I had been teaching myself Korean and had gotten to such a high level of fluency. I was also really surprised that everything could be delivered, because everything in the US takes like a few days to like be delivered. In Korea, it normally takes like 1 to 2 days, depending on what it is. Like for food, obviously it takes like a short amount of time because the restaurants are normally very nearby. It was great for when I wanted to have a midnight snack. Alright, so that was it for my expectations versus my reality. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or thoughts, leave them down below in the comment section and I'll answer them in the next video. Thank you. Bye.